Bobby Witt Jr., Aaron Judge, maybe even Elly De La Cruz. Who should you be taking number one overall next season in 2025? Matt and I are here to break down what the first round should look like next season on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly, truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and gives you notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, most importantly to Matt and I, guys, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. Through Subtext, it's an in-depth personalized experience through text messaging alerts right to your phone, offering so much more than we can in this 30-minute podcast. And if you are interested in joining us on Subtext, you can find the link wherever you're listening or watching. If not, it's available on any of our social media platforms. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. And all right, guys, talked about it a little bit at the top, but we have a fun episode today. We're actually taking a look ahead in today's episode. We're looking ahead to 2025 next season. It's a fun episode. We're going to talk about, some of the top performers this year and what the first round should look like in a 12-man league going into next season. So, all right, my brother, Matt, with that being said, it seems like you are on the clock, sir. Number one overall pick 2025 is yours, my friend. Who do you got?
So, I'm obviously going to go with the big boy, Bobby Witt Jr. I
like it.
He lived up to his draft price, right? Being the number 2 overall pick. Finishing right now as a number 2 overall pick, and I think there's still more to come. I think he hits the 30 home runs. I think he finishes probably 120 runs, 120 ribs with ease. I think he'll hit the 30 to 35 mark in stolen bases. The pace is a little lower than last year, funny enough, because last year he had about 49 stolen bases. I think he'll probably finish with 35. That's probably my rough estimate. He's batting 350. Now, next year, he ain't going to finish with 350. Probably more like a 280, 290, maybe 300. And that's a really good season. I think the home run numbers are repeatable because this will be the second year in a row he goes for 30. I think the stolen bases obviously are 30 plus. And you know what? The runs and ribs as that team keeps growing and getting better, I think is just going to make him that much better. So the emergence of Vinny Pasquantino, I think, really drives up his value. And then there's more to come with that team. So Bobby Witt Jr. is my number 1 overall pick.
Matt, I'm in full agreement with you with Bobby Witt. The guy has just been an absolute animal. I know you talk about the steals being a little bit lower of a pace than last year, but you know what? The doubles are up a little bit from last year. So, a little bit less opportunity to steal. But with a 347 batting average, I'll take that for a few, less steals. You're absolutely loving Bobby Witt. And Matt, once again, just love the pick there. At Bobby Witt Jr. being number 1 overall for next season. With the second pick, though, as we continue to move on, it's an interesting choice. I threw out a couple names at the top, and I think I got to do, the homer thing here, and I think I got to take me some Aaron Judge, number 2 overall. I've said this over the last few years. When Aaron Judge is healthy, he is easily, if not the best player in baseball, he's right up there amongst them. On the year, Aaron Judge, 93 runs, 42 homers, 107 RBIs, 6 steals, and he's batting .332 with an 1100 OPS. Just helping you out in every single category. He's not going to blow you away in steals, but you know what? I think in today's day and age, with steals being up in general, you could supplement that later in the draft. You get you maybe a steals specialist, and with the amount of home runs that Aaron Judge provides and RBIs and just immense upside in every other category, I feel safe at taking him number 2. Of course, just a little bit of an injury history. If you look further back, some of the injuries aren't necessarily his fault. I know there's a broken hand, amongst some other injuries that aren't necessarily his fault, running into a wall, things of that sort. So I'm not necessarily super worried from him with an injury standpoint. I think he's above average with injury risk. So you kind of build that into your roster as you're drafting. You kind of might want to take some safer players along the way. But just when this guy's out there, 60 home runs is always in the cards. 120 RBIs is in the cards. It's great batting average. He even chips in, 10 plus steals in a healthy season. So I think Aaron Judge is a great second overall pick going into 2025.
Dude, I mean, I hear you. It's the safe man's pick, but at the same time, it's one of the more riskier ones. But that's not the reason why I wouldn't pick him as number 2 overall. My pick is Elly De La Cruz, and I'll compare the two. Right?
Love it. I love it, though. It's a great pick.
I mean, I think Elly has proven himself. This isn't just like, oh my God, I've hopped on the bandwagon type of a pick. It's really just more of like the foundational, the step forward. Whereas like Judge, yes, the injury any given time, but the thing is too, like you want to be able to cover all the categories, right? And with Judge, you don't get that 5th category. You may chip in 10. And with that, it's just like, okay, cool. Like I'm trying to capitalize. If I have the number 2 overall pick, how can I be dominant in every single stat category, right? Or even in just a points league in general, right? Like Elly De La Cruz is also going to provide that across the board, whereas Judge will be too. And that's a different cat. This is more of a head-to-head roto ranking, right? Or just roto in general. Elly De La Cruz puts you in a spot where you're going to be dominant in stolen bases. You're going to definitely be up there in home runs, depending on how you place your team. And that team is getting better. So the runs and ribs, I think, are going to be better in year 3 for Elly De La Cruz, and more like really year 2. So that, I think the batting average takes a step forward to about 270, 272. Right now, he's hitting about 266. And you know what? The power, I think, is going to be even better next year. We're really only seeing about 21 home runs. He's probably on pace for about 27. And I'm kind of okay with it to finish the year. I think next year is going to be a little bit better. He had a little bit of a dip in May where he kind of was just inconsistent, and I feel like the league was figuring him out. But what he did was, and this is part of my other take of why I think he's more of a locked and loaded player for next year, is after May's batting average of 208 performance with only 1 home run, struck out 40 times and only walked about 11 times, even was caught stealing bases twice. He then came back the next month, batted 266, cranked up 5 home runs. The next month, cranked in 4 home runs, batting 299. This current month in August, 280 with 3 home runs already only halfway through the month. Elly De La Cruz only had a minor setback this year and was able to really bounce back and adjust. This year was his true getting started year. Next year, 2025, I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes as the number 1 overall fantasy player.
So I agree on some things, disagree with others when it comes to Elly. I agree with a lot of your talking points. I don't think he's the 5 category guy yet, though. I know there's the potential. Of course, there's the upside of 5 categories, but we're not seeing it this year. Obviously, the 51 RBIs is the super lackluster. He's hitting second in that Reds lineup. Reds are okay. They're not great. There is the upside of them potentially being good. But, with my if I have the second overall pick, it's just hard to go on sole potential for me personally. Like, you can do it. You can do it. But, if Elly even does what he does this year, you didn't get your value on that pick. You'll get the great steals number. He's not elite in any other category this year. Literally, not any other of those categories are elite performance. I know there's the upside of it. The underlying stuff looks great. Just for me personally, I can't take that risk at number 2 overall, but I can see anyone that wants to do it, for sure. But you know what? You could hop back in, Bella, for sure. Yeah, go for it.
We got a whole minute, so I kind of want to go with this, right?
Of course.
So Elly De La Cruz is up there in terms of stolen bases, without a doubt, at 59 already on the season. Super elite. The home runs is a decent pace at 30 home runs.
Yeah, that's fine.
The runs are actually a lot better than I thought they would be. It's the ribbies, like you said. Now, the thing is, you look at his numbers in comparison to Bobby Witt Jr.'s last year. Same kind of run pace, 101 runs last year, 97 runs actually, 30 home runs, 96 ribs, 49 stolen bases, batting 276. It's very similar. And you know what the addition was on Bobby Witt's side? He got back Vinny Pasquantino being super efficient. CES is going to come back next year and also allow the Ribbies to kind of come home. I think Elly De La Cruz is seriously going to take that full step forward. Elly De La Cruz should honestly finish with 88 home runs, or at least not 88 home runs, 88 ribs or 80 ribs at this point. And he's already on 100. He's already on 100 run pace. He could totally turn it around.
Yeah, no, I agree, but it's just a lot of ifs and buts for me as when it comes to a number 2 overall pick. And there is a world where it pans out. Just for me, Aaron Judge, it's not ifs and buts. It's just stay on the field and you get the guaranteed production. With Elly, it can go the other way too. You know, the batting average can dip the other way. You know, we've seen it before, and he's a guy that nothing is guaranteed when it comes to batting average. Even the underlying stuff, that's the one thing that stands out is expecting batting average is a 240. So there's a world where Elly steals 70 bases and has 100 runs, but it's, 27 home runs and 80 RBIs, and you paid number 2 overall for, a guy that's lackluster in 3 out of the 5 major categories. But, enough on Elly De La Cruz. We still have the rest of the first round coming up next with a lot of fun names. So you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned. And guys, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. It is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals and all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concert, comedy, theater. Their flash deals save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. With their zone deals, you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. With their all-in pricing, you could toggle this feature and shows the total upfront with no surprise fees when it comes to checkout time. With their seat views, you can get a panoramic view from the actual seat you'll be sitting in the app before you buy. With their lowest ticket price guarantee, Game Time will credit you up to 110% back of the difference. And Game Time's ticket coverage, your purchase is guaranteed with the most flexible coverage in the customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets and their lowest prices always guaranteed. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch over to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for your every day to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fryer TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. As the season continues to unfold, you can rely on Matt and I for our dynamic content. Get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy league by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where the path to your victories begin. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. And all right, guys, we're going to jump back in here, and it's actually back on me with pick number 4 overall for 2025. Actually, let's see what I want to do here. Matt, you went Elly De La Cruz. Let's recap. So Matt went Bobby Witt Jr. at 1. I went Aaron Judge at 2. Matt went Elly De La Cruz at 3. So we jump back to my pick here. And a tough choice here. I'm eyeing down 2 guys. But there's one who stands out to me, and I think everyone's going to be like, another homer pick here. But I'm going to go Juan Soto. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Juan Soto. Juan Soto's having a career year. Still super young. Juan Soto, 100 runs on the year, 33 homers, 86 RBIs, 5 steals, 306 batting average, and over 1,000 OPS. Juan Soto's career high is 35 home runs. He's already at 33, so he's going to cap that. I think it's going to be 120 runs, 40 homers, 100 plus RBIs, 7 steals, a 300 batting average for Juan Soto. Once again, steals a little bit lackluster. You would like more from a first round pick, but I think it's such an easy category to supplement later in drafts. You're getting a guy, I think that's going to come back to the Yankees. I really, really see it. He loves it here. All you hear him talk about is his enjoyment this season in, playing for the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, having a career year. So I foresee it. And then I think year 2 is going to be even better as he's, doesn't have to adjust to a new team, new coaching, all that, new teammates. So I think Juan Soto is a great pick here at 4. Once again, I'm the kind of guy that at the top, I like to go a little bit safer, and then I like to take my darts a little bit later in drafts. So I like Juan Soto here at 4.
So I hear you. He's had a fantastic year. He's definitely a top 6-ish pick. And you know what? Where I'm going to go right now is a guy that's forgotten because he's been so hurt. And it's not who you're thinking of. It's actually Mookie Betts.
Oh, I like it. Okay, I like it. I like that. That's a good pick. Strong pick.
So Mookie Betts has had a fantastic year. He's played a lot more games than the guy Dom was thinking I was going to pick. And, 292 at bats. He has 51 runs, 16 doubles, 3 triples, 11 bombs, 43 ribs, 10 stolen bases, batting .308 on the year, a .406 OBP, a slug of .497, and an OPS of .902. Him and the Dodgers are just like a thing. The Dodgers are getting better. Ohtani's just been phenomenal. And you add Mookie being healthy is just an instant cheat code. He has ultimate availability on Yahoo. Honestly, he's a pick that is fail proof. And he's a 5-category contributor. So I look at Mookie Betts. I probably pick him higher than your last 2 picks. In all honesty, it's kind of just super high upside of my first 2. And then for me, it's Mookie Betts. And then the guy you were thinking I would pick, which I'm teasing up for later.
I gotcha. I don't think I could take Betts over Judge. I think Betts versus Soto is definitely a conversation, especially if you're playing on a platform where Betts has that second base. Shortstop eligibility, honestly, cheat code at second base. If you could play Mookie Betts at second base, that's definitely an upside. And I do love the pick. I think Mookie Betts will be a top 5 pick next year as long as the health is in play. Going to be 32, so getting a little bit up there, but I definitely think it's a good pick. I don't know if this is the guy that you were thinking about taking, Matt, but I think it's great value here at 6. I'm going Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, that's the guy.
I'm going with the Tuck. So, younger, going to be 27, 28 next year. Honestly, Kyle Tucker was on an MVP pace through his first 60 games this year. It was 214 at-bats, 42 runs, 11 doubles, 19 homers, 40 RBIs, 10 steals, 46 walks to 41 strikeouts was, one of the biggest things I love to see from him, even in better improvement than last year. 266 batting average, but that was, his last few games. I think he might have been playing hurt, was kind of struggling there, but it was really, really good through the first, couple of months of the season. I love the upside, it's a 30-30 potential. He did go, it was a home run short last year of 30-30. Kyle Tucker was. So I think there is another level here. Matt used to talk about it. I didn't really fully buy in until, last year, but I'm fully buying in for next year. I think it's a guy can go 100, 30-30, 100 RBIs with a 280 batting average. Honestly, you could be talking about him as a top 3 pick going into even 2026.
To be honest, the only reason he wasn't, earlier for me was 1, the health, and 2, I looked at a little bit deeper into him, and his sprint speed and things like that was really down. I don't know how much it is to the shin injury that he's experiencing right now. That's kind of one of the biggest takeaways for me, because if he stops stealing bases, which is a low for him on this year, yes, he's kind of on pace for, who he is, right? He has 10 stolen bases.
Yeah, he would have had 30. He would have had 30.
He would have, or come up short at 25, 26, and that's still fair. But, I want to see that season where, he could go and finish with 35, 40. I think it's in him. He'll never be like a 40-40 guy. He'll always be about 30 to 32 home runs, but like 30 to 40 stolen base range, I think is totally doable with amazing batting average. So this is a great pick. Like, I mean, honestly, this is where I would pick him. Well, obviously higher than the other two of, Juan Soto and Judge, because again, I need to capitalize personally in all 5 categories. So that's kind of where I'm at in my draft strategy and methodology. But anyway, coming up next, we got a whole bunch of other guys, what to do with Shohei Ohtani, where are we drafting him? How are we treating Gunnar Henderson this next year? Are we willing to take, a mid-round pick? You'll find out that coming up next. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. You pick more than less than 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch their winnings roll in. Exploring my skills on Prize Picks this season adds an extra layer of excitement to daily fantasy sports. With a few taps, you can transform $10 into $1,000 easily. Prize Picks is incredibly user-friendly. You can make your selections, submit your entries in less than 60 seconds. And as a host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, I might as well give you some great picks to start you off with. For the Megatron of all, Paul Schemes to have higher than 8 strikeouts in his next game. For Jose Ramirez to have higher than 1.5 total bases in his next outing. And of course, our future number 1 overall pick, Bobby Witt Jr., to have higher than 0.5 home runs in his next game. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks. Whenever I need to pick me up after a night out, which is often, or it's a really hot day and I need to hydrate, I need to get hydrated, I now get myself a liquid IV. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the number 1 powered hydration brand in America. Because baseball and summer go together like liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Blast off with this iconic summer flavors like Popsicle Firecracker, which is pretty dope. A festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon, lime, and tart cherry and raspberry flavors, which are all really good. Find all your favorite flavors on their websites, from Acia berry to lemon lime and pina colada, which, you get that summer vibes. No more thirsty for summer no more thirsty for summer when you're indulgent hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop better hydration today using the promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Powered by LIV Hydration Sense, an optimization ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water to extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, all the frees you could possibly imagine. And I'm up now, and I got a pick that I don't think is surprising for this year, and it's Jose Ramirez. He is absolutely killing it, and for the same reasons I'm willing to draft Mookie Betts, the age doesn't scare me. He's only going to be 32 next year, and he's just killing it. A much better year than last year, crazy enough. About 7 home runs higher already through a 3/4 of a season, 31 home runs, 97 ribs, 89 runs, 27 doubles, a triple, 26 stolen bases, already 2 shy of last year's full season numbers, batting .282 again, a .334 OBP, a slug of .545, and an OPS of .879. He just keeps getting better. There's a reason why these last couple years he's been a top 5 pick every single year. The only thing that's holding me back from anointing him back into the top 5 is his age. We probably have another like 2-3 years of greatness before the decline, like we saw with Paul Goldschmidt and company. But Jose Ramirez is a different kind of talent. I think the back can stay strong for a couple years. It's just really how long is he going to be able to run like this for? You even see guys like guys at his age that start teetering down on how many times they even attempt to steal bases just so they could stay out on the field. So Jose Ramirez, I think, is going to be a consistent, solid pick going into next year.
Matt, I agree with every single thing that you said. I just do want to preface for our points league listeners out there. Jose Ramirez, the strikeout to walk ratio did take a big hit this year. Last year, Jose Ramirez had 73 walks to 73 strikeouts. This year, Jose Ramirez 37 walks to 63 strikeouts. So a little bit less valuable in points league, but Matt, otherwise I agree with every single thing that you said there. What are we up to? Number 8, I believe, 8th overall pick.
Yep.
I'm going to take Shohei Ohtani here, and we probably should have prefaced this at the beginning of the draft. We play on Yahoo, which splits Shohei Ohtani into a pitcher and a hitter. If the Dodgers do announce that Ohtani's in the rotation, no limits, no restrictions next year, and you play on a platform where Ohtani is eligible at pitching, pitcher and hitter, and you can get both of his stats, number 1 overall pick. I don't know if Matt agrees with me. Shaking his Matt. If you watch on YouTube, Matt shaking his head. Yes, just listening. Yes. So definitely preface that. But I'm taking Shohei Ohtani, the hitter, here at number 8 overall. I think it's amazing value. I think we have a lot of great bats going into next year, which is awesome. 90 runs for Ohtani on the year, 37 homers, 86 RBIs, 33 steals, 297 batting average, OPS over 1,000, and that is over 461 at-bats. What else do you say about Ohtani? I don't think there's much to talk about here. The guy's amazing at everything, one of the generational talents, but possibly the best baseball player of all time, to be honest with you. I love me some Ohtani. 8th overall is a steal.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason he's even fallen this far deep is because of the fact that he's UT only for the hitters category, right? And honestly, too, like, yes, if he has both eligibilities, then he's the number 1 overall pick. But that's because he's elite at two positions. But if it's just strictly hitting that you're going to really consider for, then he's this low, if not lower for me. I still will consider passing on him, even though the bat is fantastic. When you have multiple positions that you need to fill and he's pretty much just locked into one spot, that's where it becomes tough. So, I can't just move him around as willy-nilly. So you really do have to have a really good draft and constructing your team to fill all those other positions. It's really hard to take a UT in the beginning of the draft.
That is a great point, man. That is a very, very solid point.
Thank you. So, that's the only reason why he's this low for either of us. Other than that, it is what it is. His bat is honestly probably as good as Judge, if not better. So we're not knocking him at all. But anyway, Gunnar Henderson is my pick for here. Obviously, he's just been absolutely fantastic. He has arrived. He is him. He is everything that Baltimore hoped he would be and more. 470 at bats this year, 94 runs, 23 doubles, 6 triples, 29 home runs, 69 ribs, 14 stolen bases. He has a batting average of 287, an OBP of 372, a slug of 547, an OPS of 919. What a year from him. I think honestly, there's more to come with him. I think that, we've seen a lot from him in his minor league career where he was able to get up there and get 22 stolen bases in a season, have a really good sprint speed and be able to take advantage of that. And the power has always been there. He's going to be a 40 home run hitter probably this year. The pace is saying so. And if he can even get to 25 stolen bases, if he does finish with that by the end of the year, which I think is unlikely, then we're talking about bumping him up some guys that we already talked about, because Gunnar Henderson truly has all the upside in the world. I'm a huge fan. This kid is going to be fantastic and worth this pick.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Gunnar Henderson, all the underlying stuff looks great at, 23 years old this year, 24 next year. Sky's the limit for the kid. Don't really have much else to say. Love the pick. I know I wasn't fully bought in at the beginning of this year, but if there's any room left on the Gunnar Henderson bandwagon, I'm buying in for next year for sure.
You're welcome if you listen to me this year.
Yeah, exactly. That's why there's 2 of us here. So to keep things pushing, my next pick is actually an interesting one. I'm shaking things up. Matt and I had a draft board here originally. I'm going off the draft board, Matt. I'm going Ronald Acuna Jr. If he's healthy, I think he's worth the pick here. It's a tough one with Acuna because we don't officially know if he's going to be ready. The last report I saw is that he potentially might be ready for opening day, even if he misses the first month or so. He's going to be a potential cheat code coming back. I don't know if he'll ever be the same guy that he was, in the 2023 season where he went 40-70, but there's still a world where Acuna's 40-40. I think the Braves are going to hold him back, and don't forget that, Acuna will be 27 next year. Not still in the prime of his career, but is getting a little bit older. So I think he's a 40-40, 300 hitter, next year. If he plays from the beginning of the season, you'll probably get close to 100 and 100 as well. So I think the risk is going to be worth the potential reward here. I believe taking him at what are we at, 10th overall?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at that pick, truthfully. Acuna kind of would make me feel better at like 12.
Yeah, I want it to be sexy.
I mean, you're definitely ahead of the curve. Now, the one thing about Ronald Acuna is you got to look at the year he came back from his knee injury last time, right? And that's the one thing, right? So like the power was down, but he stole every single thing under the sun, like he was a part of the Joker's crew. Like he just was going off. And this year was not really impressive either, honestly. The stolen bases were up, but the power was pretty much zapped. He didn't look like himself. He looked like a shell of a man. I don't know if he was playing through that injury, but quite honestly, it was the other knee that they were talking about to start the season. So I'm a little baffled at what was going on in general. In 2022, he only finished the season with 15 home runs and just I'm kind of expecting that same outcome. So I don't know if I'm going to pick him that high or even in the first round, just based off of, the fact that we actually have history and what that outcome is going to look like, could look like at least, and based off of this current season. I honestly, I will throw out who I would honestly pick here and just kind of go from there. And it's Yordan Alvarez, another guy that I think belongs in the first round, but at the lower end.
Was that your next pick?
That would be my next pick.
All right, so just throw it down with it. We'll wrap this up.
Yeah. Yordan is honestly a guy that just power average and is on a really good team. He just clogs up a UT spot as well, but in certain platforms, he is outfield, and that's what makes him a little bit more attractive. As long as he stays healthy, he's another one that's one of the best bats in the league. So Yordan Alvarez is a solid pick all around. I'm drafting him around here.
Yordan Alvarez is tough for me. I don't think he's going to be a first round pick for me next year. I'll throw out the last pick of the first round, which for me, which would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Still super young, going to be 25 next year. I have since May 11th, his last 80 games, Vlad is hitting 350 with 20 homers, 61 RBIs, and 58 runs. I think there's another level here. I don't think he ever hits, that 49 home run upside from a few years ago. Vlad's actually going to be 26 next year. Forgive me, or he'll be he'll be 26 next year. So I think young enough in the prime of his career. I think he's going to be a 35 homer guy with really good counting stats as long as the team can be good. Not going to steal you many bases, but a 300 batting average for sure. That is all for today, though. That's the first round for next year. Shout out to our everydayers and new listeners, make Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. And then after you listen to us, go make Sully of Locked On MLB your second listen of each and every day. He is a fantastic guy with great content there, covers the whole league for you. But guys, until tomorrow,
peace.